Hello and welcome to Soccerlens TV. I'm Andy Brassel. Now, of course, normally I'm here on Mondays doing sort of roundup of European action from the weekend, but we decided to hold off a little bit this week. I was going to focus mainly on Real Madrid and Arsenal and their advances in their respective leagues and their respective title challenges, but they were both in Champions League action this week, so we thought we'd wait until Thursday, and I'm really glad we did because they were both involved in very, very exciting ties. Now we're going to start with Arsenal because I was lucky enough to be at the Emirates on Tuesday to see them make really short work of the 2-1 deficit they had from the first leg after those two Lucas Fabianski clangers in Porto, and that they of course had Manuel Almunia back in goal for this one, and a 5-0 win. They're in absolutely tremendous form. Now to briefly look at Porto, fair enough, they didn't put up much opposition. Their confidence was not what it was in the first leg. They were in the midst of a 14-game unbeaten run then. Since then they've been hammered in Lisbon by Sporting and drawn against Olympiacos. So now they're 11 points off the top of their title challenges has been and gone, the title that they've held since 2006. And you could see the effect it had on their confidence by the tepid way in which they defended and play throughout the team. Really, their midfield looked pretty weak as well, and you could really see that at the Emirates. But nevertheless, a lot of praise to go to Arsenal. Now, there were a few concerns before the game from what was a really typical performance against Burnley at the weekend. They played pretty well. They played some lovely football, of course. Set up a lot of chances, nearly all of which were missed by Nicholas Bentner, who had a real nightmare of a day. He came back tremendously well against Porto, of course, scoring that excellent hat-trick. But another concern was the vulnerability in defence that's dogged Arsenal sometimes, and the goal they conceded against Burnley was a typical Arsenal goal to concede, just a simple straight ball through the middle of the defence, and David Nugent finishing it rather well. And you wondered how Sol Campbell, returning to hopefully beef up the defence for this game against Porto, would cope against the attacking triumvirate of Varela, Ulk and Falcao, who are of course all pretty pacey. Campbell had a pretty average start, a few shaky moments, but recovered really well. And throughout, of course, and what I think was a little more important, is he was protected by Alex Song in front of the defence. Now, people have been saying for ages that Arsenal have needed a replacement Vieira. I've argued against this because I think if you look back to 2007, 2008, two very different players in midfield, Fabregas and Flamini, to the classic old defensive midfield pairing of Vieira and Petit. They're really sort of physical players, whereas Fabregas and Flamini, far more dynamic, a lot of mobility, and I think this really suits the sort of pass and move style that Arsenal play at the moment. Song's perfect because he fits it in as a sort of midway point between those two styles, those two eras. He was getting all around the pitch on Tuesday night, mopping up behind the defence, and also with the ability to bring the ball forward and start attacking moves as he did with the age of Abu Dhabi and Samir Nasri. And of course Nasri is another big factor in this because people were really concerned before the game about the absence of Cesc Fabregas, and quite rightly he's been Arsenal's outstanding player this season and he's their captain. Nevertheless, it turned out his absence almost to be a blessing in disguise for them, really, because Nasri can play in the middle where he rarely gets to play. He really owned the match from the moment where he helped set up the first goal with a wonderful slide ball pass through to Arshavin, which ended up with Bentner finishing it, to the third goal which clinched the game. Wonderful slalom through three players before smashing a difficult angle shot into the corner. And this is really good news for Arsenal going forward because of course it's not beyond the realms of possibility. In fact, it's pretty likely that Cesc will go back to Spain at some point with either Barcelona or Real Madrid, and it proves to Arsenal fans and the world at large that Cesc's future doesn't necessarily have to be a bleak one for Arsenal. Now, going on to Real Madrid, of course it's been a great weekend for them in the league. They ended up on top, what with Barcelona only drawing at Almeria, and but then having a tremendous comeback win at the Bernabeu against Sevilla, and they were 2-0 down, and in what was possibly the most exciting La Liga match of the season, came back to win it in injury time through a tremendous tap in by Rafael van der Vaart, but it was tremendous in the sense of it created a great comeback, and the way it was celebrated showed a real enthusiasm and a real spirit as returned to Real Madrid and returned to the Bernabeu. It was this as much as their technical ability and the way they attacked in waves throughout the game and persevered despite having a few blows of conceding pretty rough goals, to be honest, that really caught the eye. But I think Manuel Pellegrini, the coach, deserved a lot of praise in this game because he changed it about when he needed to, bringing on in a double substitution, Guti and Van der Vaart, in the second half, and that really helped push them forward. Not only did Van der Vaart score the goal, but Guti's passing really kept it moving and had a big effect for Real Madrid. So a lot of people were assuming that Real Madrid would do exactly the same as Arsenal had done, overcome a first leg deficit, which of course they got in Lyon, and overcome their French visitors pretty easily, but that's not the way it turned out. They started with great confidence with Cristiano Ronaldo's early goal, taking in the sort of style that they'd brought throughout the match against Sevilla. But there were some significant differences between Sevilla and Lyon. I think Lyon are a team of better quality, but I think they'd learned some lessons from the performance of Sevilla at the weekend as well. Now, what was the problem for Sevilla is that they really lacked creativity in the middle of the park, and that's been the case for a while, with players in there like Romaric and Zakora, who are great holders, but not tremendous passers of the ball. Now, Lyon are lucky because they have Miralem Pjanic, who of course scored the goal, and even though he didn't play a great first half, he really came to the fore in the second half, along with Kim Källström, one of the substitutes that came on at half-time. We'll come back to that in a little second. But what happened with Sevilla, they were under unrelenting pressure because they couldn't transfer the ball out of defence effectively and accurately. And this is a problem that Lyon had in the first half. But this double substitution, it was Pellegrini getting it right with a double change at the weekend. It was Claude Puel last night at the Bernabeu, and he admitted it was a bit of luck really, because Boumsong and Makoun were injured, which led to him having to bring on Gonalon and Kim Källström. Now, this is the difference. If we look at this tactical plan here, here's the first half. A lot of space behind Ali Sissoko, which is being exploited. Jean-Alain Boumsong having to come across quite a lot and not retaining the ball very well because Cesar Delgado not having a particularly good first half as well. Now, with that change, you lose the power of Toulalan out of centre, but he had a really good game at centre-back. Gonalon doing very well to hold, and also Källström, who's an excellent passer of the ball and also can come across, having played at left-back himself, to cover Sissoko. Delgado getting through a lot more running in the second half as well. So I suppose really the question is going to be, as far as Real Madrid go, who's to blame? Well, a lot of people having a go at Gonzalo Higuain for missing a few chances. I think that's really harsh. He's helped them out of a lot of holes over the last couple of seasons, and you know, every striker misses chances. A lot of people having a go at Pellegrini too. I think he's worked very hard on a tactical plan to assimilate all these top players, and he should be given more time, although clearly he won't be. What for me would be the most worrying thing if I were a Real Madrid fan, or indeed member of the coaching staff or board, is the continued problems that Kaká has in really bossing a game. Now, this was a game really set up for him to do that. They needed to match Lyon physically in the centre, and he's a big guy who's a really modern midfield player and has the ability to do that. But Real Madrid looked absolutely knackered after 70 minutes. Everyone was saying what great physical power they have at the weekend. They didn't show it here, and you know, this may get them through the rest of their La Liga season, but it's a big problem when it comes into Europe. But they've got plenty of time to think about it before next season. Of course, a great night for Lyon as well, because Bordeaux losing one of their games in hand that they made up against Auxerre last night, and so a very, very tight title race there. 4 points between the top six, so it's going to be a great end to the season in France. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed all the Europa League action. Some great matches to look forward to, including Lille, Liverpool, Benfica, Marseille. Anyway, if you have any queries, please leave a question. contact me directly at twitter.com/Andy Brassel. Keep up with me on my own site, www.alornothingtv.net. Enjoy the games over the next couple of days, and we'll see you again next Monday.